Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I know it's been a while and I already explained why in my last video, so I'm not going to go too in depth about that. However, I will get into the topic of this video, which you can easily read in the title, Why Do We Have Hair? More specifically, facial hair. And there's a few reasons for that, and some deal with genetics, which ultimately deal with evolution. So let me get into it. There's about 3 key reasons why we have hair and why men specifically have facial hair. And yes, I know that there are some women who have facial hair and those deal with hormones and genetics, and it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. So, let's get into it. First off, I will say this to avoid any confusion, because I know there will be people who will ask this question or try to say I'm wrong. Hair and fur are the same thing. They are just two names for the same thing. They are little strands of material made up of keratin. They are the same thing. So, I will say fur and I will say hair interchangeably in this video. They are the same thing, so you don't need to be confused. I was actually quite confused when doing the research on this video. So, let's get into it. So we're pretty much asking 2 questions. Why do we have hair and why do men have facial hair? So the primary reason why we have hair at all has to deal with evolution. And hair evolved alongside our warm-blooded ancestors. You know, the nature of warm-blooded creatures demanded the need of fur and hair. So let me explain. When we evolved from mammals, early mammals, and from those mammals, they developed a warm-blooded nature. So whenever they began to develop warm blood, there is a significant problem there. Because out in the cold, heat evaporates out of our skin, so we have to have a way to keep that inside. So our mammals early on developed fur and hair. Now that we have a way to keep our internal temperature, warm, and have a good way of keeping ourselves insulated, we evolved pretty well. Things were looking up for us. And as time went on, we went to more colder regions, we evolved more, and we developed, more intellectual minds. And in doing so, we learned how to hunt, and we learned other useful things, such as making clothes and shelter. This provided us with more warmth, and because of this, over time, we began to shed more hair from our next generation, our next kin. So we started to lose the amount of hair, which also explains why our faces aren't completely covered in fur. So, as this goes on, we still keep the hair because it's still part of our genetics. We haven't lost all of it, but we lost a big chunk of it. And as time goes on, and up until the point of now, we still have hair, but not anywhere close to our hominid relatives such as gorillas and chimpanzees. So that explains why we have hair at all, why animals have fur at all. And the second reason deals with why, our hair is kind of the way it is. And it's just strictly through genetics. Because there are some people who are flat out bald. There are some people who don't develop hair whatsoever. They're just born bald. And this can be attributed pretty much through genetics, outside of the unfortunate facts of, radiation and chemotherapy, And just through over time, we developed different genetics that modified our hair color and our eye color. Such as, blonde hair and blue eye people have a different set of genetics compared to me, where I have brown eyes and brownish blackish hair. It's just a variation of genetics, which explains why, a different set of genes can also be responsible for the amount of hair that we have, such as curly hair, straight hair, wavy hair, thickness of hair, whether it's thin like mine or thick like my brother's. It's just a different set of genes. And so that kind of explains the variation. Now, the third reason why we have hair, and this answers the question why men specifically have facial hair, and kind of what got me on the topic of hair in general, it has to deal with puberty. And that seems like a no-brainer. But how much do we really know about it? I couldn't even tell you off the top of my head before I did all this research. And it's very simple to explain, so I'm going to take the time to do it now. When we hit puberty, we have a part of our brain called the hypothalamus, and this will send a signal to our pituitary gland in our brain, and this will in turn send a hormone throughout our body, and these hormones will begin a change, and these hormones will trigger, the growth of our sex and development. It will begin to change us, and it will develop our testes and ovaries. When this happens, for women, they have ovaries, and this will begin to develop estrogen. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce that, so I'm going to call it estrogen. You can hate me later for it. But this estrogen hormone is what gives women their secondary sex characteristics, such as their breasts and wider hips. For men, we have testosterone, and the testosterone is what defines our facial hair, and why you would use testosterone for sex change from female to male. From doing that, that's when they develop facial hair. And now for us, for men, we use the testosterone. It beefs us up, it deepens our voice, and it gives us our hair. But oddly enough, testosterone is also the reason why a lot of men go bald. Testosterone not only starts, the growth of hair on our face and our pits and our lower bits, but it also is the reason why, we go bald, unfortunately. So, for any of you who had a question about that, I hope that answers it. And I'm about out of time for this video, so I will see you guys on Saturday with a brand new video. My name is Aaron, and I'll see you then. Bye.